In tonight's headlines, ruling party candidate William Lai wins Taiwan's presidential election. Hong Kong records 34 million visitors last year, exceeding expectations by a wide margin. And defending champions and host Qatar beat Lebanon in the opening game of the Asian Cup.
The independence-leaning Democratic Progressive Party in Taiwan has succeeded in holding onto power for a third consecutive term. Its presidential candidate, William Lai, the current number 2 under Tsai Ing-wen, won 40% of the ballot, or around 5.4 million votes in today's election. HOYIBC of the pro-Beijing Kuomintang, who finished second with 33%, conceded defeat and apologized for his loss. Ko-wen-je of the centrist Taiwan People's Party was third. The voter turnout was high at around 70%. In addition to the presidential election, voters also chose the 113 members of the legislature. Taiwan's leadership contest was closely watched by the world. The result would determine the island's relationship with Beijing, which sets Taiwan as part of China. It would also have an impact on Sino-US ties, which are at their lowest level in decades. The People's Liberation Army warned that any attempt at independence would be crushed. Beijing's International Department Chief Liu Jianchao said earlier that the U.S. cannot violate the red line on cross-strait relations. Washington has been supporting the island by providing military support, including approving a $300 million arms package last month. Janice Low, Cable News.
The government could split large plots of land into smaller parcels before putting them on sale, according to Development Minister Bernadette Lin. This comes after the administration decided not to put any residential or commercial sites for tender during the current quarter because of the sluggish sentiment in the property market. Speaking on RTHK, Lin said developers are more inclined to buy smaller plots when the economy is weak. Vincent Ho, a former president of the Institute of Surveyors, said smaller land plots could reduce the investment risk of developers.
Although Hong Kong reconnected with the world and the mainland only last year, the number of inbound tourists exceeded expectations of 30 million.
We're very happy to report that the 2023, the overall arrival numbers have reached 34 million. We can see that things are recovering progressively and in an orderly manner. The number of full year represent a recovery of 55% of that of 2017 and 2018 average. But we can see, and as we progress into the last quarter, by December, the recovery rate is up to 65%.
Visitors from the Philippines and Thailand surpassed their record highs set 6 years ago, according to Chang. The Tourism Board Executive Director said the supply of hotel rooms has not reached 100% due to the shortage of frontline workers. But the impact has been minimal, as half of the visitors in the fourth quarter did not stay overnight. The Tourism Board earlier rolled out night treats dining vouchers worth $100 each in a bid to lure visitors. Chang said 30% of the travelers redeemed the vouchers, which he noted is a very satisfactory rate for all kinds of coupons. Tourist officials are expecting an influx of visitors during the Lunar New Year, which is less than a month away. One of the highlights is the return of the night parade after a 4-year hiatus. It will feature 13 local performing groups and a record 16 from overseas. Chang expects 150,000 revelers to flock to Tsim Sha Tsui for the parade on the first day of the Year of the Dragon. Janice Low, Cable News.
police have seized $31 million worth of cocaine from a house in Tuen Mun, which officers believe was used by triads to store drugs. Around 30 kilograms of the drug were found hidden in straws wrapped with plastic tapes. Packaging equipment were also seized during the raid. Officers arrested 4 men, including one inside the house and another who was allegedly holding a bag filled with cocaine outside the house. Also detained were 2 men in a car, which was believed to be used to transport drugs. All the men, who are in their 20s and jobless, were detained for allegedly trafficking in dangerous drugs.
Health Secretary Lo Chong-mao has urged anyone with a mild illness not to seek treatment in the emergency units of public hospitals. This comes amid a rise in flu and COVID cases. Speaking on a radio show, Lo said the flu and COVID season could last at least 10 more weeks until the end of March. He said flu infections could be serious this year because the public is less immune to the virus after being protected by masks in the past 3 years. But Lo emphasized that there is no need to panic. He encouraged people with minor ailments, such as a sore throat, to get medication from pharmacies to free up space in emergency centers for those who need of urgent care. Palestinians in Gaza continue to seek shelter from Israel's relentless bombings. With more than 85% of Gaza's over 2 million people forced to flee again and again, there is growing concern about their plight.
Any persons displaced from Gaza must be allowed to return, as international law demands. In this context, we are, of course, deeply alarmed by recent statements by Israeli ministers regarding plans to encourage the mass transfer of civilians from Gaza to third countries, currently being referred to as quote-unquote voluntary relocation.
Also speaking at a United Nations Security Council meeting, U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield stressed that Palestinian civilians in Gaza should return home when conditions improve. Israel's representative said there is no forced displacement, but the Palestinian envoy expressed skepticism.
Israel wants the Palestinian people to choose between destruction and displacement, between genocide and ethnic cleansing. You need to act now to stop the genocide underway, to save lives, to put an end to this carnage and to restore life in Gaza.
About 200 Palestinians have been killed and many more injured in the latest wave of Israeli attacks. Almost 24,000 Palestinians in Gaza have been killed since early October.
U.S. President Joe Biden has come under fire from some Republican and Democratic lawmakers for not seeking congressional approval before sending military jets to bomb Houthi targets in Yemen. But legal experts say U.S. law has provisions for the president to order limited military action overseas. The controversy came after U.S. and British warplanes struck at least 60 Houthi facilities, including air defense radar systems. The Houthis had earlier attacked Israel-bound ships in the Red Sea in a show of support for the Palestinians in Gaza. In the Yemeni capital Sana'a, thousands of people protested against the U.S.-led targeting of the Houthis, and concern was expressed in the United Nations.
These developments in the Red Sea and the risk of exacerbating regional tensions are alarming. That the region is on a dangerous escalatory trajectory which could potentially impact millions in Yemen, the region, and globally. We call on this Council to continue its efforts in actively engaging with all concerned parties to prevent further escalation from exacerbating regional tensions or undermining regional peace, security, or international trade.